lifestyle has caught fire, and we talk about the rewards and challenges of it. This is the Wandering Worker Podcast with Matt Lloyd.
Welcome to the Wandering Worker Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Lloyd. The Wandering Worker is powered by Magic Apple Technology, where we've been saving good businesses from bad phone systems since 2008. Whether you're tuning in from the comfort of your home office, a cafe, or exploring a new corner of the world, this podcast is your compass to navigate the ever-evolving landscape of remote work. We'll uncover invaluable insights, share personal stories, and connect with experts who have mastered the art of wandering while working. And today our guest is actually wandering while working. Zach Montroy. How you doing, Zach?
I'm doing great, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. So this is an audio-only episode because we are having video difficulties, and we're just going to roll with it like we're actual professionals and just moving right on through. Is that good with you?
The joys of remote working, right? We have to adapt.
That's right. Adapt and change. That's exactly what it is. So before we go digging too deep in everything with you, we're going to do some random questions. Now, oddly enough, you just answered 5 random questions until our video crashed. So you're going to maybe get 5 new questions. You'll see if you like these better. All right. You ready? Here we go. What have you created that you are most proud of?
Oh gosh, what have I created? I mean, I would say top of mind is our company. We started 1.5 years ago, and it has been an amazing journey so far. So I did it with some close friends and hired the smartest people I know, and love what we have created and the people we've been able to work with so far.
Yeah, and your business is the Intention Collective. We actually met through a group that we're both a part of. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. The entrepreneur organization, the Nashville chapter.
Yes.
And you came and met our forum and kind of get a really cool breakdown of what you guys do. And I'm excited to learn more about that. Let's finish these questions up real quick.
Awesome.
Let's see. Would you rather be stuck on a broken ski lift or a broken elevator?
I'm going to go broken elevator. You can't see how high up you are on an elevator.
I was going to say, is what the real question is, are you more scared of heights or are you more scared of small spaces?
I've been stuck on an elevator before, never on a ski lift, so I'm going to choose elevator.
Yeah, I got you. All right, when was the last time you changed your opinion about something major?
Not that long ago. I mean, I think I love and encourage people to lead and live with curiosity and, to be committed to getting it right, not being right. And I think that requires us to be open-minded and be curious about other people's opinions and viewpoints. So I love, being a lifelong learner. And so I feel like I change my mind all the time.
Yeah, I feel the same way about that. I think if you don't, then you kind of stick yourself in a hole that you're not giving yourself enough options to see what's changing around you.
For sure.
Yeah. What is something you can never seem to finish?
Oh gosh, I think we can say parenting and work. Those are probably we both kind of have jobs that, never get done. And parenting is one of those jobs, we have an 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old, all boys. And, I don't think the work of parenting is ever done, right? You feel like you've gotten through one tough season only to enter another tough season. So I think it's just one of those continual things that you keep working at getting better at.
Yeah, for sure. Now, both my kids have transitioned out of the house. They're in their 20s. And then you kind of move from parent, because there's only so much parenting you can do. And then that job kind of moves, for me anyway, it was a progression from parenting to support system and being their cheerleader and always being in their corner. And because the idea of parenting now has to be like, let me give you some life advice. Can you take the life advice?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's doing all that work in the beginning. Yeah.
And there's new challenges to every season of parenting too.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your company and your background.
Yeah. So my sort of background before starting the Intention Collective, I was a COO for a lot of years And my job primarily was putting vision to action and working to lead staff and teams and working to develop leaders, and absolutely loved the people side of getting to do that and really figuring out how do we take this vision and actually make it a reality through the work of people and helping people understand and identify their unique abilities. And so I had the opportunity to step into that work with a bunch of different companies doing consulting a number of years ago. And in that world, consulting is an interesting area to be in. Really saw an opportunity to do things a little differently and in my mind, do things better and better serve our clients. And so about a year and a half ago, decided to step out on my own and, start that entrepreneurial journey for myself. And like I said earlier, wanted to do it with great people and with great talent. And so we really work to design a team and a company that comes around small businesses and helps them grow and scale with really a focus on doing it in a healthy, sustainable way and helping to develop a team of leaders and make sure that we're building healthy cultures and healthy teams and helping people understand their unique ability, their unique identity, and how that ladders up to the vision of the organization.
Yeah. What's one of the main things that you've seen now with your current clients, everything that you're dealing with there? What's the big thing that you're helping people with?
Yeah, I would say oftentimes when we meet entrepreneurs, when we meet leaders, there is, this sense that everything is on their shoulders, especially in, small to mid-sized companies. We work with a lot of founders, a lot of owners who have really bootstrapped their company and, built a team of people and yet still feel like so much rides on their shoulders. And if they stepped out of the business or if they took a vacation for 2 weeks, that, there's a big chance that things are just going to fail and fall. And, oftentimes they've built a team around them, but how do we empower them? How do we help them understand the vision? Oftentimes that vision is just in an owner's head, or they don't have the equipping programs or equipping necessary to build up and raise up a team of leaders so that they can share that leadership load and, develop the mid and high tiers of leadership within their companies. And so oftentimes we're really coming in to help them clarify that vision, help them get that out of their head. And then, a vision is, they're just words on a page unless you put action to it. And so our secret sauce is really stepping in and helping them action that vision and put a strategy behind it, help them actually accomplish it. We help teams run in 90-day sprints that actually create accountability and mechanisms to make sure that we are getting the work done so that, when we look back, we're hitting the mile markers that we want to hit along the way.
Right. And you guys basically deploy a operating system or a framework, and you help people use that to be able to run their business and give them some guidelines so that they're not having to recreate the wheel every day. What framework do you guys use?
We used a methodology called System and Soul, and really what that does is it helps us clarify, the destination. Where are we going? Do we have the right design as far as, the organizational design, the structure of our team? Do we have the right cadences in place as far as what we're, driving, as far as the rhythms and habits of the organization? Are we tracking and keeping track of the right scored? Like, do we have the right key performance indicators for everyone? And then on the soul side, are we really, do we understand with great clarity what we're here to accomplish, what we're here to do? What's the vision for the organization? Does everyone understand their part in that? Is the ethos of our company and of our team in the right place? Are we engineering the right culture, a healthy culture, one that we're developing leaders and developing people in? So what we do is we really use those tools to customize a strategy with any team that we're working with to help them get from where they're at to where they want and need to be.
Got you. What got you into this line of work?
I think my years as a COO, I worked with a number of consultants that really helped me understand and create frameworks for actually helping to accomplish the vision. That really was one of the I call it my Popeye moment. When we watched that cartoon growing up, the like, I've had all I can stands, I can't stands no more.
Right.
I'd sit in these visioning meetings and we'd come up with, we'd hire strategic planners and they'd come in and help us come up with a 10-year or 5-year vision. We spent all this money and they gave us these really pretty binders and everyone just put them on the shelf and no one looked at them again. And I'm like, we just spent so much money on this. What can we actually get this stuff done? And, no one really wanted to talk about it after, the consultants left. And that to me was just, it was such a waste of resources and time and energy. And so that really got me into understanding and studying these frameworks like the Rockefeller habits and EOS and scaling up to really say, how do we actually make this a plan that we can get done? And how do we create these checkpoints? And how does everyone understand their part in this vision and this strategy? So that really made me nerd out, was the spending all this money on strategic planning and us not actually doing anything with it. That's what really got me fascinated in this. And then stepping into the world of helping small business owners, it just is so close to my heart because most small business owners create their business to create great jobs, to create a great place to work and, create a pathway for their families to be successful. And, that's a lot of time, energy, hard work, and vulnerability that's required in that. And I think, to be able to help small business owners accomplish their dream and vision for their companies is a really special thing.
What's a story that you could share that you've had so far that's the one that's made you the happiest? Like you said, you are so passionate about this, so I'm sure that you've had an experience so far that has just been, all right, this was how I'd like them all to be when it comes to working with a small business.
Yeah, and this owner is fine with us sharing their name. They're actually in EO Nashville as well. They're Cumberland Creative, and it's a creative video agency in Nashville. They do some amazing work. We started working with them and the two owners of that company. They didn't have a leadership team. They're doing okay, but they got stuck. They just kind of had hit this ceiling. They couldn't get beyond it from a revenue perspective. Their profitability wasn't in the place that they needed and wanted it to be.
Right.
Their team was okay, but they could really kind of see the writing on the wall. Like, this thing is just not sustainable. We are having to give way too much to this business, and everything's on our backs as the owners. So we came in and helped them establish a leadership team. We helped them establish clear roles and responsibilities, not only from a leadership perspective, but from a departmental and every person perspective. We really worked with their team to help them each understand their genius that they bring to work. And then started outlining the vision and started putting strategy to that. And, in a year, their revenues have almost doubled. They are hitting not only their revenue goals, but their profitability goals. Their utilization, their team is in the healthiest place from an engagement perspective that they've ever been. They hired an amazing integrator who's their COO, who's really running the day-to-day. So they practiced what they preached. They, did the work. We've, had to navigate some really tough times. And I would say because of the shared leadership model that they have and, their willingness to be vulnerable and to be open and to embrace the suck of doing the work, they've really been able to see a transformational story on the other side of that.
Yeah, super cool. Super cool. So you guys, besides the like introduction to the framework and kind of working through some of that, you guys also do a bunch of like workshops and retreats and things like that too, as well, right?
We do a lot of team development work, from Enneagram to Working Genius. We are Dare to Lead, which is Brene Brown's work certified. We do a ton of work on, helping to develop leaders and, create custom leadership development programs with teams. We also do fractional leadership. So sometimes teams need us to step in as like a fractional or interim COO. Do that. We also do some hiring and recruiting work as well.
Got you. What would you say is the one thing that you have to kind of have a mind shift? Because I know, like you mentioned before, we're an EOS shop. That's what we've done. It's worked well for us. But we had to have a couple of mind shifts, and we started with just getting really good at running level 10 meetings. In your framework, what's the thing that they really need to be able to just have this mind shift, understand this, and follow these steps? What's that initial thing that you got to do to really be successful at it, so you don't have a false implementation or something like that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Matt. I think, and I'm sure you have had this mind shift as well. I think for so many of us, we have been taught, and our calendar would say that we are working primarily in the business.
Right.
And as leaders, as owners, as a leadership team, we have to, yes, in any small business, we're going to have to continue to work in the business, but we have to shift that mindset to saying we have to spend time and be intentional about the time that we're spending working on the business. Because if we don't, we're never going to get to where we want to be. That work is not just going to magically happen. And so level 10 meetings, your quarterly rocks, or as we call them, objectives, those are the 90-day sprints that we run. We have 30-day checkpoints on those, a little different than rocks, just to make sure that they're on track throughout the quarter. That is all intentional time that we should be spending working on the business. We also, whenever we're working with leadership teams, we pull out calendars and say, what's your on the business time every week? You've got stuff that's going to be due for your level 10 meetings. You've got objectives that are due. If you don't calendar the time, no one cares about your calendar as much as you do. So if you're not calendaring the time, it's not going to happen. What's your time to work on the business?
Yeah. Hey, do this for me. Define, and just in case there's new entrepreneurs coming on, because you hear that all the time. I've heard it my entire entrepreneurial career of working on the business, not in the business. What does that actually mean to you?
Yeah, I'll give you an example for us. So working in the business is, for me, as client work is, sort of just my weekly deliverables. It's just sort of the stuff that has to get done. As a small business owner, I've got to meet with my accountant every, so often. I've got to make sure that I'm doing one-on-ones with my team. I've got to, make sure that the business is running, do sales. Make sure that we're, being proactive on business development. For me, working on the business is really stepping outside and saying, what are the most important things for us to be accomplishing, or for me to be thinking about in the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months? How do I make sure that I'm thinking about the future? How do I make sure that I'm working on the things that are, not just fires in the day-to-day, the easy stuff for me to, ADHD out on, but making sure that I'm really thinking strategically, that I'm thinking about, the things that we said we needed to accomplish in the next 3 months, that I'm looking at our 1-year bets, that I'm looking at our 5-year plan, that I'm thinking about new lines of business, that I'm reading about, things that are coming in the marketplace that I need to be aware of and need to be cognizant of. To me, it's really just taking that strategic time to focus outside of all the, tasks that I have to do every day.
Exactly. It's the same thing. I think too, we get so caught up in the day-to-day minutia of running a business and dealing with clients and putting out fires, or in some people's cases, setting fires to then go back and put out later. All the things that are part of the business. And sometimes it's scary to want to work on the business, because then you actually have to take stock of where you are sometimes to be able to figure out where you want to go and how to set those meetings and set those goals and plan for those goals going forward. What advice do you give young entrepreneurs as far as goal setting?
Well, I would say get a coach. I remember Brene Brown saying, and that's not just self-serving.
Sure.
If you don't hire us, hire someone. I heard her say once, I've never met an effective transformational leader who did not have a coach and or therapist by their side. And I completely agree with her. But I would say for the young entrepreneur, taking time to sit down and think where, you don't need to, you don't need to start with a 5-year plan, but think about, where do you want to be? Where does your business need to be in 6 to 12 months? Now, what are the actions I need to take this month, this week? How do I make sure that I'm spending time working to get there? What do I need? What resources do I need? How much time is it going to take me to get there? What people do I need by my side? You know, I think really to sit down and dream and think about, where do you want to be? And working backwards from there is a really, really healthy place to start.
So it kind of sounds like, I mean, there's a lot of, introspective stuff that needs to happen. But then if you have a team and you have, employees and those type of things, you got to be able to get them on the boat. How do you get people invested in something that's not theirs? How do you get people invested in helping you achieve your dreams and your goals?
I think there has to be something in it for them. Right. I mean, if it's just I want to be a $50 million company in 5 years so that I can buy a new yacht for myself. Well, that's not a very compelling vision for someone that's working on my team. I think that if you really want the buy-in of your team, and for us to understand, and I love Monique Shafiq said, in the past, this was when she was the director of the London School of Economics. She said, in the past, jobs were about hands and muscle. Right now, they're about brains. In the future, they're going to be about the heart. And I mean, I think we're seeing some of that, like with the prevalence of AI. Like that's something that a machine can't replace. And I think when you're thinking about what's a compelling vision, there has to be something in it for the team. I mean, we are huge advocates for creating profit sharing plans, because in the end, from the work that we've done and the work we've seen, they don't end up costing the company anything. They actually usually help companies exceed their profitability goals, because there's a financial incentive in it for people. And also, people want to contribute, and people want to, I think, contribute at their highest and best. And oftentimes that is not something that we're taught in college or in high school. What are we uniquely gifted at? What are we uniquely a genius at? And how do we put that to work in our day-to-day jobs and roles and responsibilities? And I think as best we can, when we can design a vision around that and helping people put that to work, I think that from all the research that Gallup has done, that helps create an engaging place to work for people.
Right, because you kind of have to, at least in my experience, I know that it's much easier to find people to get on my boat if we both know we're wanting to head in the same direction. So Absolutely. It's like, Absolutely. If I don't know my vision and I don't know my goals or my purpose for having the business, then how am I going to convince somebody else that they should share that same thing? Right. To me, so really, like, I work with some college kids that are at a local college here. They're part of they have a school of selling, and you go talk to these kids, and nobody says, I'm super excited to get my cubicle. Nobody's saying that. They're all saying, hey, I want to do something that I'm passionate about that gives me purpose. And usually that has to do with helping somebody. It's not about, I want to go, they want to make a good living and they want freedom, all that stuff, but they want to do it as long as it checks certain boxes for them.
Absolutely.
Do you see businesses now making that shift and embracing the importance of ethical passion and purpose versus just making dollars for the pocket?
I mean, I think we see a lot of that. I think we still see, on the other end of it. And, I also think there's a lot of finding out that happens when, there aren't ethical practices and it is, just all about the money. But I also think that there has been really this resurgence of how do we create healthy places to work? How do we create places where there is, a win for everyone, that as a business owner, I can be rewarded for my investment and, hard work. And as someone who started a company, all the investment dollars and time and blood, sweat, and tears that go into the company. And I can be fair and compensate my people well and create a great place and environment for them to work all at the same time. I think you can have all of those things. I don't think that they're mutually exclusive.
Right, because I think that's the thing that we're starting to realize now. You can actually be financially successful and have all these other things as well, and have ethical passion and purpose, and do the things right, and support your people and all that stuff. It doesn't have to be a either or anymore, and I don't think it ever had to be an either or. But we can make that choice. It's becoming much more acceptable to do so.
Absolutely.
So you said you've been doing this now for a year and a half with this.
With Intention Collective has been in business for a year and a half. Yeah.
So where do you see, if you could just snap your fingers and be 5 years down the road, what does that look like to you, or what would you want that to look like?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we, a big part of our business is one of our core values is generosity. So we give to a lot of nonprofits. So for us, that is, continuing to do work with great companies and continuing to give back to our community and to nonprofits that we love and that we care about. Our goal by 2030 is to have made an impact on 1,000 organizations through our work. And so that's what we're working to do is, really help owners, help leaders, help leadership teams create these great companies that are scaling and thriving, and that are also treating people well and, very centered around their mission and vision.
Got it. So how many people do you have on your team right now?
We have 9 people on our team.
So, and those are basically consultants and coaches. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes. We actually have a couple therapists on our staff as well. We don't do therapeutic work in companies, but we do, some performance coaching, mental, employee well-being coaching as well. So we've got that capability too.
What's the thing you guys that you're the most excited about right now at the Intention Collective?
We have started working with some really amazing organizations this year. We have just been blown away and feel very grateful for the new clients that have come on board. We are just kind of blown away at the work that we're getting to do right now. And I'm very excited, obviously, that I get to see my coaches and consultants really living out their unique abilities and the impact that they're making on their clients right now. So that's what kind of has me going right now.
Got you. So, and as you build, I'm assuming everything that you're preaching, you also make sure that you practice within your company, correct?
We practice what we preach. Absolutely.
So in looking for and hiring new people and adding to your team and stuff like that, how do you go about doing that? I mean, I know you said you also help with recruiting and you can help companies find people and that kind of stuff. Is there a process behind that for you guys, and what does that look like?
Yeah, we always start with, we actually have some assessments that we use in the interviewing process. We always start with, we call it a right fit analysis, and really working to create a good hiring profile, because what we don't want to happen is, sometimes we have heard the stories of like, oh, I met this person and I really like them because we like the same hockey team. And we're like, that is not a reason to hire this person. So really working on what are the skills that are absolutely necessary, what are the people skills, the emotional intelligence skills. And so we have a number of assessments that we use in that process. And then we've got a pretty refined interviewing process that we use, where we really, try to recognize bias in the process. We really try to always go back to, we have a really, I would say our process is very story-based. So that we're really trying to get after, past behavior being a good predictor of future success, and that we're working to match the right skills for the candidate up with the right, with the position and the skills that the company needs most. Got you.
So if there was one for the Intention Collective, if there was one key attribute, key piece of somebody that they gotta have, what would that be?
I would say courage and vulnerability. when you're working with companies, you've got to, I have to have the courage to say the hard thing. That's what they're paying us to do. It is very easy to not say, to just, I'm just going to side with the CEO and to not have those hard conversations. And that's not what they're hiring us to do. And the work that we do, we have to be able to foster vulnerability and trust with our clients, especially. So those are really necessary skills that every person on our team has to have.
Got you. Well, if somebody's out there listening right now and they want to be able to reach out to you guys and use you guys, how can they find you? And then what are some things that you would suggest a good place to start with an engagement with you guys?
Absolutely. We have a number of free guides and a couple diagnostics on our website. Our website is the Intention Collective, it's actually intentioncollective.co. Actually, I think both will reroute it to us, but intentioncollective.co. We have a number of resources on our website, and that's just a great place to find us and read more about us and learn more about the stories of impact that we've been able to see with companies.
Perfect. Well, listen, before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you so much for being on here. I know we had some technical difficulties today, but all in all, it worked out really well. So, Zach, thank you for being on. And please, if you're an entrepreneur and you've got a business, reach out to him. He's a wealth of information and just an all around great guy to talk to, and you can pick up a lot from him. So again, thank you for being on, Zach. We really appreciate it. And that's it for this episode of The Wandering Worker. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our guests. From Zach today. Mark your calendar for the next episode where we will continue to dive into the world of The Wandering Worker. We'd like to also thank our sponsor, Magic Apple, for bringing you this episode today. If you're not thrilled with your business phone system or your work from home experience, give us a shout. We've been helping people like you since 2008. And again, as always, I'm Matt Lloyd. Until next time, enjoy your week.